What is going on, my peeps? Your boy Versatile is back with another video, back here with the behind the scenes, or rather how I shot my Sony vlog challenge video, or cinematic short as I would like to call it. Yes, although it was a minute, it took several hours to set this entire video process up. And so I wanted to give you guys a look into like the creative process, stuff that I'm learning, stuff that I've learned even recently in terms of lighting, and how you can drastically or dramatically change or create your own lighting for specific scenes that you want to shoot, given, you know, your circumstances. So before we get in the video, if you guys haven't already, make sure you guys ignite the like button on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so that way YouTube informs you when I drop videos. Yes, YouTube won't let you know a thing unless you hit the notification bell. So go ahead and do that right there so we can sit back, chillax, and see what's cracking. Now, let's get into the video. So what's gonna happen as I talk about this is from time to time, you might see some video footage come in that was at the scene at the time for true behind the scenes. I shot the video footage with the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 5G. A bit grainy, I don't know why. I was shooting at, I think, 1080p 30 frames per second with steady shot, and it seems like steady shot is what adds the grain. And the Z Flip has like the old Galaxy S10 sensors in it, so or at least camera video quality, so keep that in mind. But it's behind the scenes, so it shouldn't be a big deal. But I explained in a little bit more detail each scene that I shot, or how I shot it. So if we look at the opening scene was actually like the third or fourth scene that I actually filmed. And essentially what I did here was I took the ring light that I'm using right now, it's kind of bright when I look straight at it, and I put it in the bedroom and I faced it upwards towards the ceiling to kind of bounce the light off the ceiling. And thankfully it's, you know, if you have a white ceiling. And so what it did was cast down and made it seem as though there's just a glimmer of light coming in from the curtains, you know, behind our bed. And so of course the scene is very, very dark. What I also had to do in post was actually contrast it a little bit more and lower the brightness to actually eliminate some of the grain that the Sony a6100 was presenting. Technical error on my part. I forgot I switched out my memory cards for the a6100. So when I set up my video settings, I did not appropriately set them up in video form. And I think that's what also caused the film grain, because there was also film grain in very great lighting conditions. So thankfully, a lot of the rest of the film grain you couldn't see, and I'll explain that in each scene. But for the opening scene, that was actually like my third or fourth scene that I actually shot for this. That's one of the things I was learning from YC Imaging, was motivated lighting. And one of the things he talked about was he showed it how he used an aperture light with the I forgot what kind of dome he had on it, but he shot the light with very bright, and then of course played around with it in post to really make it look like it was a morning shot, which was super cool. And then another scene he shot, which I attempted for the bathroom scene, which is next, was just using the natural lighting. But of course it was nighttime. It was like 1:30 a.m. when I got to that scene. That was like, if not the that was a shot I shot right before the opening scene. And so what I did was I took the ring light and it was actually originally positioned just outside the bathroom. So if you look at that scene, you'll see light casting off the door behind me, which makes it look like it's morning time. You may have opened the blinds, but really what it was the ring light was right outside the bathroom light to make it look as though like it was daylight coming in. So that way when I had the bathroom light on, you can see a difference in lighting. And although maybe that wasn't the best thing to do from a technical standpoint in terms of having different colored or temperatured lights in a scene, it kind of worked to the benefit of separating me in the bathroom from the lighting outside the bathroom. And so yeah, I shot that scene right before I shot the opening alarm clock scene. And that was pretty fun. We tried it without the bathroom lights on, but you just couldn't see, and it would have just been like a shadow. And I don't think, given the circumstances, that would have been a great scene to look at. Again, learning something from YC Imaging. One of the things that Chris did in his videos was he used the lighting from his bathroom, which still lit up enough to see him, and the darker tone really set for what he was doing. For my scene, it did not work the same way, so I could not emulate a similar scene. So I had to use the bathroom light. Kind of sort of like I did in the short film where I used the bathroom light for the bathroom scene in my short film creator's block. I kind of did similar, except that was actually shot during the day, whereas these two were shot during the nighttime. And last but not least, this last grainy. Ooh, this is grainy. Yo, the Z Flip's camera needs help, y'all. I used the ring light again in the room for the bathroom scene. I actually used the bathroom lights as well. Cut that on to give me some light on my face because that was the only way I could do that right there. Yo, aperture, hit me up. And then I used the ring light to simulate light coming from the window here because it is nighttime. And I used that to, again, cast lighting in to make it appear as though it was morning or, you know, daytime. And then I repositioned the light over there and had it bounce up on the ceiling to get that alarm shot of the camera right here. I don't know why this camera is looking so bad right now, y'all. I apologize. But that is the behind the scenes of basically everything that took place in the house. All right, so what's going on to the wifey? She has been helping me film these scenes because, of course, I'm not the one behind the camera. I'm directing. Okay, using the A6100, of course, but I'm using the A7 III on the Weeble S. This scene again, this time I have one of my studio lights positioned right there to cascade the light in to make it appear as though it's coming from the window. And then I have another light just to kind of fill in to the room, especially as I walk in and to grab it. And the reason why I'm shooting this stuff at night is because we're gonna be busy the next day. So I just wanted to use and to have this scene work with the scene that I did out here in the living room. So that way they look very similar in color for this video. I'm a filmmaker by means of videography, and I'm also a photographer, ultimately on the journey to become a cinematographer. It's crazy the things, the moments one can do and capture with the camera, but that's what I like to do, capture those moments. Some of the behind the scenes. So what we did was we set up the ring light that was literally across from me when I was doing the gimbal scene here on the table. And then I had one light set up there and I had another one set up right there to project the image of natural light into the room. Got the idea from YC Imaging. It's kind of like a weak version of motivated lighting, but it was a way to simulate daylight for the, you know, me about to go on my adventure scene. That was the second scene I shot. The majority of the video was all shot at nighttime. So it looks like light is coming through our window, but it's really the studio light that's casting the light. And it seemed like it worked out pretty well. This is another scene that I thought there was gonna be a lot of grain, but I was able to eliminate a lot of it. And I just don't know why the A6100 was giving me so much film grain. But I guess it kind of added a little bit of like a nostalgic touch to the video. And so there wasn't much else I could do in post because I edit on my tablet. So there's not a lot of like After Effects or additional plugins to an editor that I could, you know, download and try to address what I thought was an issue. So that was that scene. And then me walking into the living room, placing the gimbal down on the table with the camera. That was the very first scene I shot. That was about, yeah, everything was shot between basically 12:50 a.m. and like 3 a.m. just because all the ideas started hitting me as to how I wanted to shoot it. Because I know we were busy the next day and I wouldn't have had time to actually shoot all of this, nor did we want to get up early enough to shoot it. So I was like, you know, let me see if I can actually create the lighting conditions and make this look real or realistic and what I wanted to go for. So this scene is very simple. It was actually the next day, about 5 p.m. I wanted to shoot it earlier, but didn't have time. This was simply just set the camera up on my little table that I put the gimbal on. projected it to our ottoman that's right there in front of our window that I was kind of simulating the light from, and then just put the gimbal, took it apart, put it together in the bag, and then left out. And then I used a transition effect that our editor has for the lighting, and it worked because of the amount of light and how blown out the highlights were for the scene. I used that to the advantage of using this light transition into the car scene, which we shot shortly after this scene here. So now pretty much everything else is sequential. So upon being in the car, I had the wife kind of film me while we were driving to the location that we wanted to finish this out, which is one of the parks in downtown Rock Hill. And we had enough time before some kids came in and they started playing football to then film me kind of walking around, fake getting scenes, shots with the gimbal and the camera. So I really wasn't recording anything in those scenes. It was just the enactment of doing so for the scene, trying to get my acting on, you know what I'm saying? Yo, Marvel. No, I did not leave the sticker on my shirt. What am I doing here? And then when we were actually done, well, close to being done, I had her take the gimbal and actually film that panning scene on me to close out the video. And then thereafter, I actually shot I shot her with the vortex for this. I shot a vortex scene for my gimbal video I have coming up as to what I think about using this gimbal. So that's the behind the scenes of this video. As you guys can see, it took about I want to say in total about 3 hours to shoot this 1 minute scene. And that's because it took about 2 hours to shoot everything preceding us shooting the next day. Just because of setup, moving around, a couple takes. For me, I have not had the experience shooting something like 6, 7, 8, 9 times. I usually get it right so far within the first 2 to 3 times. And thankfully, just because it's not something that I like is substantial, so I don't have to do a number of takes. But everything pretty much took about 2 to 3 takes. If I go back, when you see me putting the gimbal together and I was able to get a couple different angles, that's because we shot it about 2 or 3 times. And then what I did was just piece together different angles of me setting up the gimbal, putting on the filter on the camera, and then picking up the gimbal to then go break it back down and put it in the bag. But that is how I shot my Sony Vlog Challenge video. One thing I forgot to talk to you guys about was audio. So for the audio, I added in with some, of course, audio design. I brought in the audio at the sink. When I splashed water on my face, I found a nice little water kind of splash that sounded appropriate for that scene. And then the alarm clock scene, I added in the alarm clock scene through a sound effect. And then for my actual voiceover, I just sat down in front of exactly where I'm at right now in this video. I sat right there and recorded the audio, and then I just broke it apart to lay it throughout the video as I saw fit. I wish I had more that I had scripted, because I kind of wanted my vlog to be a little longer than a minute, like much more closer to like 2 to 3 minutes, because I had enough footage for it. But unfortunately, I just didn't do that, so it came out to be about a minute, and I wanted to make it feel natural and well spaced out. So that's what I did for the audio. I am going to start trying to put more thought into the behind the scenes of how I shoot videos going forward that are like cinematic like this. Like my review videos, probably not, but when I'm doing projects and stuff like that, I'll probably try to do that, so that way I can kind of help those who are interested in video making, filmmaking, or just want to know like how I do stuff, and because they think it's cool, whatever. I try to make this stuff for you guys as well, kind of something I can add to the channel. Right now I'm dipping and dodging between doing tech videos and my videography, which all kind of still goes hand in hand, so I'm thankful for that. I don't have to make another channel. But let me know down in the comments below what you guys think about, one, the video, the finished product, but then, you know, how I talked about it. Did you guys understand everything as to what I was talking about in terms of how I actually shot that video? Comment section is open for discussion. If you haven't already, again, if you haven't already, ignite the like button on the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell, so that way YouTube informs you when I drop videos. So that way we can sit back, chillax, and see what's cracking. But your boy Versal signing out, and until the next video, wait for it.